Thanks, Steve. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Emirates Stadium. Well, as one £40-odd million player's turbulent career at Arsenal looks to be irretrievably over, another £40-odd million player's star is already on the rise. And as Mesut Ozil comes to terms with his exclusion from the Gunners Premier League squad, Thomas Partey is busy anticipating his full Premier League debut against Leicester, who have Jamie Vardy back on the bench after a calf problem. Former Arsenal and Leicester defender Matt Upson is alongside me. Just on Ozil, Matt, before we get underway here, it's fair to say that Arsenal fans have varying opinions on that whole saga, which, let's face it, has been going on for a long time now. But how much do you think the events of the past week in particular, Ozil expressing his dissatisfaction very publicly on social media via his agent about being left out of Arsenal's Premier League squad, how much will that have affected the players, and could we see an impact tonight?
No, I don't think it will have affected the players, and I think, for such a young manager, Mikel Arteta has handled this saga and this situation brilliantly. I have to say, he's kept his powder dry. He's never once almost spoken out of line or criticised Ozil in any way. He just doesn't want him in the team, in and around the squad. There's something about him as a player that doesn't fit into his model of what it should be. And I don't think he's been, publicly critical of Ozil. His selections have spoken for themselves. And, I think people can have varying opinions, but Ozil definitely, by being vocal about it and by complaining in that way, I'm not sure if it reflects too well.
So a reminder of the two teams for you this evening. Arsenal with Leno in goal, a back four of Bellerin, Luiz, Gabriel and Tierney, Partey, Ceballos and Xhaka in midfield, with Saka and Aubameyang supporting Lacazette up front. Leicester have Schmeichel in goal, a back three of Fofana, who's really impressed the 19-year-old since coming in this month from St Etienne, Evans and Fuchs, Castagna, Mendy, Tielemans and Justin ahead of them, with Pratt and Maddison supporting Harvey Barnes up top. Leicester in their traditional home kit this evening, despite being the away side, all blue. Arsenal in the red shirts with the white trim, the white shorts and the red socks. And the players take the knee at the start of this match. Referee Craig Pawson blows his whistle to get us underway, and we are underway. Leicester City kicking from right to left in this first half. Winner throw midway through the Arsenal half. Fuchs takes it quickly downfield to Justin, under pressure from Bellerin, almost challenged there by Ceballos. Back to Fuchs. Good start this from Leicester, just outside the Arsenal penalty area. Here is Maddison, pulls it back to Mendy, and now in the centre of the field, just outside the centre circle, the youngster Fofana in for Chala Soyuncu, such a big player for Leicester, who are still missing several big players. Soyuncu one of those, and Didi as well. Jamie Vardy only on the bench, and Leicester City have the ball back inside their own half. Now Christian Fuchs over the halfway line, plays it forward to Justin, and back to Fuchs. Justin, another one of those players, Matt Upson, who shows his versatility, playing at left back, can play it right back as well, as can Castagna over on that far side for Leicester. That versatility, such an advantage.
It is, especially with a manager that likes to chop and change a little bit. Brendan Rodgers likes to challenge the players with different formations and shapes, and he's definitely got a couple of young players there that are able to adapt.
Leno quickly out of his area to clear that ball away, and Maddison spotted the Arsenal keeper off his line, met the ball halfway through the Arsenal half, and has curled the shot just wide, trying to chip Leno. Well, that's early nerves for the Arsenal goalkeeper. He made a couple of big errors in the match against Rapid Vienna in the Europa League in midweek. One led to a goal, a couple really should have done playing out from the back. He did try and put his foot through it, ironically that time, Matt Upson, but Maddison picks up on it and could have made him pay.
It was a shocking clearance, wasn't it? Poor connection from Leno that put it straight to Maddison. It was a lovely vision from him. He saw the goalkeeper was off his line, and with his left foot he got his head up and just tried to curl it over the goalkeeper. It just went a few feet outside of the near post, so it wasn't quite on target, but Leno was scrambling back towards his goal.
Leicester throw from Fuchs is intercepted by Granit Xhaka, and all the way back to Bernd Leno. Will be closed down by Harvey Barnes, playing this central position. Now Arsenal pick it up on the left hand side, infiltrating Granit Xhaka midway through his own half. He just stops and checks, and square to the man on his full Premier League debut, Thomas Partey, the £45 million signing from Atletico Madrid for Arsenal. On the halfway line, plays it out to the left-hand side, and Tierney forward to Saka, who races away down that left-hand side and is challenged, and the ball will go out for an early Arsenal corner inside the opening 2.5 minutes. Lively from Saka.
It's almost a 4-4-2, isn't it, that Arsenal are playing? You just get the feeling that Aubameyang is quite narrow, he's almost up alongside Lacazette, and Saka's started out on the left-hand side. So there might be a little element with Ceballos just drifting out to the right-hand side, and whether this will be a 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 formation from Arsenal.
So corner over on that far side. Will be swung into the 6-yard area, and it's flicked in off the post, but the flag is up on the near side. Now the referee disallowing the goal. Arsenal were halfway through celebrating. I don't think they looked and saw the flag. Now it's a corner that is whipped in. VAR, of course, will have a look at this. Now Aubameyang is there at the far post. The question is, does he get a touch, Matt Upson?
Well, the linesman's flag was up very early. There's a flick on. There's no touch. Whether or not, is it Xhaka is in there dangling his foot? Xhaka starts on the goal line and is coming out from the goal line into the 6-yard box line. Whether or not he dangles a foot at the ball and makes contact, because when there was a flick from Lacazette, Xhaka was definitely offside. But in my view there, I don't know if he touched the ball or whether or not he was impeding another player from dealing with it. It has been ruled as offside.
Yes, I think that's what Lacazette was trying to clarify. But VAR have had a look. They are happy with the offside decision given by the on-field referee. And Arsenal's early lead is ruled out.
It certainly wasn't Aubameyang, was it? Because he was just drifting in at the far post.
Yeah.
So, I can't see how he could have been interfering with anyone or actually may not have even been offside. It was Xhaka coming back off the goal line that was the problem, I think.
Yes, as you say, Aubameyang nowhere near the goalkeeper. Didn't get a touch at the far post. It actually bounced off the post and went in, but the goal ruled out for Arsenal, and we stay at 0-0 here at the Emirates. Here are Leicester City. Christian Fuchs has it on the left-hand side, midway through the Arsenal half, back to Johnny Evans. And Palace Mendy looking for Evans to play the ball to him. It's well blocked by Lacazette as Evans plays the ball forward, and the touch goes off a red shirt and will be a Leicester City throw. They've taken it quickly, Leicester, infield to Maddison, who was just tangled there with Lacazette, and Lacazette just coming in behind Maddison gives away the free kick. Well, he's already looking lively, isn't he, James Maddison, on this first Premier League start of the season. Leicester City free kick, central position, best part of 30 yards out.
It's a great driving run from Maddison, receives the ball, lovely touch with the outside of his left foot, takes it inside, he rides Partey's challenge, and Lacazette recovering just wipes him out from behind, but he was definitely driving towards the D on the 18-yard box to get a strike on goal.
So 5.5 minutes gone, Arsenal 0, Leicester City 0. Leicester with this free kick just a little left of centre where they place the ball down. James Maddison has his left hand in the air, swings the ball into the penalty area. It's well headed away by Tierney. For Arsenal, will be picked up by Tielemans on the right hand side of the penalty area. Saka is back there defending, so Tielemans sends it back to Mendy, plays it back to Tielemans on the right hand side, and Leicester City now forced all the way back to the edge of the centre circle. Here is Christian Fuchs out to the left, and James Maddison. Good structure and discipline defensively from Arsenal to keep Leicester just inside the Arsenal half. Saka coming to pressure the ball as Tielemans sends it back to Johnny Evans, and now Christian Fuchs. Patient build up this from Leicester as Fuchs just blasts it into Aubameyang, and now they try and get the play going quickly, Leicester, with that long throw from Fuchs, flicked on by Maddison, will fall in field to Mendy, who's forced backwards. But that is notable, Matt Upson. They are being patient in possession when the ball's on the ground, but whenever they've had a throw, particularly on this left-hand side, they've tried to take it very, very quickly and spring either Justin or Maddison behind the Arsenal back line.
Yeah, Fuchs has really set the tone, hasn't he, with that? I mean, the opening seconds of the game, the ball went out for a throw and he sprinted up the pitch and threw the ball quite long in behind just to put Arsenal on the back foot, and that's definitely a theme of how he started the game, and it tends to be driving the rest of the Leicester team too.
Well, Arsenal not happy there. They felt the ball hadn't gone out of play, but it is a Leicester throw, and case in point there, Matt Upson, the ball was left on the pitch. Christian Fuchs wasn't happy with that, so ran to the tunnel, got another ball so he could get them going straight away again from the throw, although it's gone all the way back on this occasion to Kasper Schmeichel.
He wasn't hanging around, was he, Christian? He wasn't waiting for somebody to throw in the ball. He was taking matters into his own hands, literally.
Absolutely, and he heads the ball over the halfway line. Christian Fuchs, it's well met by Danny Ceballos, sent forward for Arsenal, will fall to Lacazette. Lovely little back heel, and then brings the ball down, is fouled by Tielemans and wins a free kick 20 yards out, just right of that D. Good play by Lacazette.
Tielemans not happy with the decision, but Lacazette just flicking it over his head and wins the header. Tielemans, I suppose, is body checking him, but he can't really get out the way. He's trying to compete, and I think Tielemans is just saying to the referee, what do you want from me? I can't just jump out of the way and let him run past. But clever from Lacazette. I think he used him to make the contact and go to ground, and it's won a free kick in a really dangerous position.
James Maddison still lurking around where that free kick is going to be taken for Arsenal. Now just backing away the Leicester City man. 8 minutes gone, 0-0 here at the Emirates on 5 Live. Xhaka standing over it, Lacazette's there as well, so is David Luiz. Plenty of options for Arsenal.
It's tailor-made for Xhaka, isn't it, with that left foot just on this right-hand side.
Yes, as Luiz just jogs away, Lacazette is still there. But as Matt Upson says, Granit Xhaka is eyeing up Kasper Schmeichel in that Leicester City goal. Referee Craig Paulson just happy that the Leicester City wall is the required 10 yards, so it will be Xhaka, and he strikes it straight into the wall. Good block by Johnny Evans out of the Leicester City penalty area. Will almost be picked up by Arsenal on that left hand side, but Saka's lost out. Here is Fofana for Leicester, goes all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel, all in bright lime green this evening, and Schmeichel just takes his time and dinks the ball out to the left, and Christian Fuchs heads it back to Johnny Evans. Aubameyang will drift towards him to close him down, and Evans sends it into his own penalty area, and Kasper Schmeichel, as Brendan Rodgers stands with his hands in his pockets on the edge of his technical area, mirrored by Mikel Arteta to his left. Fascinating tactical battle between two managers that aren't afraid to change things up, as we've seen with the formations this evening, Matt Upson.
It doesn't make picking the formations easy before the game, does it? I mean, back four, back three, you know, different midfield lineup, who's playing up front. It's a really tough call when you see the teams, even when they've been selected, as to know what they're going to play. But such as the versatility of the players, and also, like you say, the managers, they don't mind changing it for specific games if they think it's going to get a result.
Arsenal in possession, just inside their own half. Here is Gabriel, another who's been very impressive since coming in this summer, arriving from Lille last month. Really slotting in, and the ball over the top will find Bellerin in the penalty area. Flag stays down. Fabulous sliding challenge by Johnny Evans, and the ball will go out for an Arsenal corner. Well, what a chance that was for Bellerin.
Yeah, James Justin completely gone to sleep here. It's a lovely ball from David Luiz, just dinked over the top. Brilliantly timed run from Bellerin, outside to in, finds himself coming into the 18-yard box, and super recovering sliding tackle. Johnny Evans, a really important block at the near post.
And as you say, Matt Upson, brilliantly timed. He was onside. If he'd found the net, the goal would have stood. Arsenal corner, swung in high by Saka, but Craig Paulson has spotted an infringement in the penalty area, and Leicester City will have a free kick. Leicester City, who are looking to end a very unwelcome run here at Arsenal. Arsenal unbeaten in their last 27 home games against Leicester, of course. The most recent of those coming at the Emirates. Before that it would have been Highbury. But 1973, the last time Leicester City won at Arsenal, and given the fact that these two sides have gone toe-to-toe in the last few years, it's a rather bizarre run, Matt Upson.
It's an amazing stat, really, isn't it, to think they've gone that long without getting that victory here at Arsenal. It's a real surprise.
It is Arsenal in possession, 0-0 here on 5 Live. 11 and a half minutes played. David Luiz with the ball just inside his own half now, crosses the halfway line. The curly-haired Brazilian sends it to Lacazette on the edge of the penalty area, just couldn't control. We'll come back to him though. Here is Saka, outside the box, shoots, it's deflected, and Schmeichel won't be able to prevent the corner. Another good block coming in at the last minute for Leicester City.
I think it was Fofana, just threw himself at the ball. Really exciting young defender. First time I've seen him in the flesh, and interesting to see how he does tonight. But he gets out to Saka as he pulls it onto his left foot. He knows he wants to pull the trigger and really throws himself in the way of it. gets a good block, and the ball just spins up in the air and out for a corner.
It's just 19 years of age, Wesley Fofana. Brendan Rodgers says he will be a big player for Leicester City's future. Arsenal take the corner short this time. Saka to Ceballos, good delivery. It was Gabriel in there on the penalty spot going for the acrobatics. Spins out of the penalty area to the left-hand side, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang plays the ball back in. Gabriel still there. Fuchs gets a header. Saka, Gabriel again goes for the overhead. It's deflected, fall to Saka, and his shot is easily saved by Kasper Schmeichel. Well, the centre-half looking to get on the score. Did you go for balls like that in the penalty area, Matt Upton?
I wasn't as acrobatic as that, to be honest, but 10 out of 10 for trying from Gabriel. I think the problem was the ball didn't have any pace on it, did it? It was kind of like just hanging in the air, so really difficult to generate that power for an overhead kick, but full marks for trying.
So Arsenal in possession midway through their own half, 0-0 with Leicester City. A win would be enough to take either of these sides into the top four, and 9 points each coming into this match. Leicester just ahead on goal difference as Fuchs will clear away at the back for Leicester City. Won't reach Harvey Barnes, spins out to Mikel Arteta. Harvey Barnes hasn't really been able to get into the game too much, playing on this lone striker role. Has Pratt there and Maddison supporting him as well, but we were mentioning before the match, Matt Upson, an interesting test in a position that isn't his usual one, and despite how well he played in the Europa League in midweek, it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge, but I think if you look at the front three that are playing for Leicester, he probably is best suited out of all of them to lead the line and play that role. They're just not going to get the same type of performance as they would do out of a Vardy or even an Iheanacho, who will, be very experienced with his body. He'll probably hold the ball up quite well. He's quite a physical presence at times. So, it's a challenge for Harvey Barnes. But the young players, they can adapt really well. They pick things up, and I'm sure Brendan Rodgers has been helping him this week or in the past couple of days to try and get the hang of this role.
Lovely ball from David Luiz out to the left-hand side. Good run from Tierney. The effort is blocked, and it's another Arsenal corner.
Had a few, haven't they? Is that the third, I think, already from Arsenal? We're really applying some pressure. They've hit quite a few diagonal balls from midfield, not long ones, but just kind of medium range, just clipping it in behind and asking the question of the Leicester wing-backs.
Iheanacho and Vardy, incidentally, on the bench for Leicester City this evening, so they do have those out-and-out striking options. As Arsenal prepared to take this corner, Dani Ceballos sends it in high, but it's a poor one. It will bounce all the way over the head of Christian Fuchs on the edge of the 6-yard box, and out of play for a Leicester City goal kick, 0-0.
Nothing more frustrating as a centre-back when you've just ran 60-70 metres up the pitch to try and get your head on the end of something, and the person taking the corner just flips it up in the air like that, or worse still, hits the first man and it gets cleared. You've then got a real sprint half a pitch back. So as a centre-back, probably letting Ceballos know they're not happy with that.
And do you chunter all the way back to your own penalty area?
Well, you chunter or you shout at them, I suppose, one of the two.
Leicester City in possession midway inside their own half. 0-0 with Arsenal here at the Emirates on 5 Live, all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel, who lifts it out to Fuchs again, heads it first time to Justin, who hooks the ball over his head looking for Harvey Barnes, headed away by Gabriel and will be picked up now by Thomas Partey on his full Premier League debut for Arsenal. Finds Tierney on the left hand side up against Castagna, and Tierney trying to go round Castagna, just about gets there as well. Tierney does well there, plays it back to Saka, all the way back now with Granit Xhaka just inside the Leicester City half. Here is David Luiz. Arsenal 0, Leicester 0 here on 5 Live. Luiz again swings a lovely ball out to the left hand side, finds Tierney. Castagna comes out, blocks the effort into the penalty area, and it will go out for an Arsenal throw.
I mean, he really does bring that to the team, David Luiz, doesn't he? His passing at times, if you get him on the day where his passing's in good form, then it is lovely to watch, I have to say. We can pick holes in him defensively at times, but with the ball at his feet, he's got something special at times.
Absolutely, and it's one of those games as well early on where he's advancing as high as he can into the Leicester City half on occasion, as Arsenal win another throw. Well played out by Castagna, and Tierney just wipes the ball on his shirt, throws it to Lacazette, left hand side of the penalty area, forced wide by Dennis Pratt, back to Gabriel, and Arsenal forced almost all the way back to the halfway line, and will be picked up in the centre of the field by Partey. Out to the right-hand side, and Ceballos, a little loose touch there, just took his eye off the ball, Ceballos, and it's won by Leicester City and Maddison. Lovely footwork to find Tielemans. Now out to the left-hand side, and Nampalys Mendy, who's had a real renaissance this season as he wins the throw just on the halfway line. Barely played under Brendan Rodgers, Nampalys Mendy, but has started every game this season in the Premier League. Leicester City take the throw back to Johnny Evans, and finds Tielemans just outside his own penalty area. Again, Rodgers is one of those managers, Matt Upson, that you think will give players a chance if they prove themselves. After Mendy signed a new deal in August, Rodgers said the more he's seen of him, the more impressed he's been. As Pratt comes down the other end for Leicester City, dangerous ball into the penalty area. It was James Justin in there in the 6-yard box, but it just skimmed behind the Leicester City wing-back. Leicester City pick it up on the left-hand side though with Maddison. Falls backwards by Partey, and now back to Mendy. Maddison again. Left-hand side now to Christian Fuchs, and back to James Maddison, who's looking so willing to get on the ball in what is his first Premier League start of the season after recovering from that hip surgery in the summer. They've been easing him back, several substitute appearances, as Leicester City have the ball on the halfway line. Fofana sends a long ball forward to James Justin, who will chase, won't be able to trap that, and that allows us to go back to Nampalys Mendy. Matt Upson.
Yeah, no, I mean, players get opportunities, don't they? Somebody else steps out of the team, there's an injury, you come in, you show your worth. I think that's important to managers, knowing that players that have been waiting a long time, all of a sudden you get an opportunity and you grab it. I think the manager looks at you differently as a player and thinks, this lad's mentally got it, to be out the team or feel like he's forgotten about, and then step up and put these type of performances in. I think it's a real credit to players, and managers look kindly upon that, to know that when they're needed they can step up, and he's taken that opportunity this season, Mendy.
Here come Arsenal down to the penalty area. Saka's delivery is blocked on the edge of the box and will spin out for an Arsenal throw. 19 minutes gone in this first half here in 5 Live. Arsenal 0, Leicester City 0. Earlier in the Premier League, Southampton 2-0 winners over Everton, ending their unbeaten start to the season. And Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Late drama in that game. No drama as yet here in terms of goals, although Arsenal had that early effort ruled out for offside. And Kasper Schmeichel has the ball inside his own penalty area for Leicester City.
You just feel sometimes Leicester need, just then the ball broke away to Maddison, he let it run across his body and he got his head up, and there's not really many players in advance of him, and you think Leicester here this evening, with the way they're playing, whether it be wing backs, whether it be runners from midfield, they're going to have to focus on getting players forward up the pitch once the ball turns over, because otherwise they're going to be playing sideways and backwards a lot, and not being able to hit Arsenal on the break, which at times you think they are susceptible. If you get a striker up against Luiz and isolates him, it's a great opportunity for Leicester, so I'd like to see players get forward more.
Christian Fuchs in possession for Leicester over the halfway line. Here is James Maddison coming out to this wide left position, and Justin, who is one player who has managed to get forward on occasion for Leicester City, well intercepted by Arsenal, and Thomas Partey picks it up, and that's what he does. Picks up the ball in a defensive position, immediately tried to set Saka away, and now Lacazette away to the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal bursting forward. Here is Saka, low shot driven straight into the arms of Schmeichel. The flag is up anyway on the near side. Schmeichel had made the save, but that's what we're seeing from Thomas Partey. That's why Arsenal signed him. They don't want him just to break up attacks in the defensive area, they want him to get them moving quickly, and that's exactly what he did there.
Yeah, I think he plays a lot of 1 and 2 touch, which when you watch Atletico Madrid, especially in that midfield area, they pop it about 1 touch. It's lovely to watch. It's great to see. It's one of the best things that I enjoy watching about football, is moving the ball quickly. I enjoy it more than dribbles, really. I'm that more of a connoisseur of a passing way than anything, so to see somebody just simply move the ball quickly, 1 touch, it's devastating to teams.
Lovely turn by Tierney, the cross in is headed over by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the edge of the 6-yard box. Well, that was a beautiful piece of skill from Tierney over on the left-hand side, left Castagna for dead there.
Yeah, he just drops his right shoulder and then shifts it with the outside of his left boot, knocks it past Castagna, does him over the first 5 yards of pace, and as we know with Tierney, he's got a lovely left foot, really curled that one in, plenty of dip. Aubameyang just pulling off the back of Evans, gets a head on it, but just enough of a challenge from the centre-back to stop him getting a clean header.
Well, he scored in the Europa League in midweek, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the winner, against Rapid Vienna after coming off the bench. He hasn't actually scored in the Premier League since opening day against Fulham. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has not gone 5 league games without a goal, which this one would be if he doesn't score tonight, since 2014, back with Borussia Dortmund, as Leicester play the ball back into their own penalty area. Kasper Schmeichel has Lacazette just drifting towards him, but will clear away long over the halfway line. Pratt will flick it on, but Harvey Barnes won't reach it. And Gabriel, running back towards his own goal, plays it out to the left-hand side, where Xhaka picks it up. Gabriel then sends it long, headed forward by Fofana for Leicester City. Will come straight back at him, but Fofana takes on Saka, plays the ball forward midway through the Arsenal half, but it's well intercepted, and Arsenal pick up possession. 0-0 with Leicester here on 5 Live. Midway through the first half, Arsenal spread the play out to the right-hand side, and Aubameyang up against Justin. Aubameyang dinks the ball in. That was a dangerous one, and Schmeichel took a couple of goes to claim it, but in the end does so.
The one thing about when you clip a ball like that, Aubameyang hit it quite flat, and that kind of almost like a dink really, but with a bit of a flatter line. It's lovely for goalkeepers to read the flight. There's no dip or curl on it, and Kasper Schmeichel had his eyes on that all the way, was able to adjust his feet, came out. I know he took a couple of times, he almost touched it and then caught it a second time, didn't he? But there's never a doubt that he had the flight of the ball and was confident to come out and claim that one.
Harvey Barnes gives away a free kick in the Arsenal half, and Arsenal in possession at the back with David Luiz. We are seeing a bit of fluidity, aren't we, with this Leicester City forward 3. Harvey Barnes playing centrally for the most part, but at times Pratt will come in on the right very centrally. Maddison will push up, so it's more of a 2 with Barnes and Maddison. Experimental, brave from Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, the ball hasn't really stuck yet though, has it? And that's the thing, you know, you're not seeing it go forwards and somebody actually get hold of the ball and then bring other players in, and then Leicester can get up the pitch. They're, you know, in these opening 20 minutes or so, they've been very sat back. They've not been able to get right up and support Harvey Barnes in the front 3, and I guess that's what an out-and-out centre forward does. They're so much, you know, better equipped to receiving the ball with their back to goal and linking up and being strong and holding off the centre back. So I think that's going to be the real challenge for Harvey Barnes in that role.
Yes, and there's no playing off the shoulder as we would expect to see with Jamie Vardy, who is on the bench for Leicester after missing the last couple of games with a calf injury. Arsenal in possession just inside the Leicester half. Here is Thomas Partey, plays the ball in behind the Leicester defence. Bellerin, first time cross in, and Johnny Evans wasn't sure. There were no Arsenal red shirts around him in the end, but Saka was coming in from that left hand side, and Evans goes safety first, plays it out for a corner. Well,
that's twice now Justin's been done with that ball over the top with Bellerin just getting the run on him. This time it was Partey who clipped it. That first time volley from Bellerin, side-footed volley that the wide players like, coming back to fire it across the 6-yard box line. So James Justin really does have to switch on and have a look at that.
Arsenal having the better of this one so far at the Emirates, but we are still goalless. Corner from the right-hand side for Arsenal, swung in by Saka, well headed away at the near post by Leicester, will be picked up again by Arsenal. Here is Saka, lovely little footwork, takes him away from Tielemans, but is forced back towards the halfway line. Will play it out to the right-hand side now, and Dani Ceballos falls back even further. In field now to Partey, midway through the Leicester City half. Harvey Barnes coming back to help defend, and that's well dealt with by Leicester. Arsenal still in possession, but the blue wall is ahead of them. Will they be able to slice through it now? Almost, as Bellerin tried to find Saka on the edge of the penalty area. Tidied up by Christian Fuchs. Will come straight back at Leicester though, as Ceballos plays it forward. Half a shout for handball for Arsenal. It will fall to Mendy, who just very cleverly eases Saka out of the way and allows that ball to go out for a Leicester City throw.
Yeah, it's a calm assessment from Mendy there. You can see that there was a bit of frantic play all around him. He realised the ball had come off the Arsenal player and just allowed it to roll out. And okay, it's a throw in level with their own 18-yard box, but at least Leicester can get reset, calm it down, and Fuchs is about to launch this one down the line.
Took a little bit more time over that throw, didn't he? He's calmed down a bit.
Yeah, it wasn't rushed.
Bellerin wins it though for Arsenal, just inside the Leicester City half, plays it all the way back to David Luiz. Square pass to Granit Xhaka over on that left hand side. Arsenal 0, Leicester City 0. Thomas Partey will now pick it up.
It has been a little bit cagey, hasn't it, of late? I mean, it started off at a faster pace, like say Fuchs driving it, but as the game settled, you know, Leicester seemed quite happy to let Arsenal have the ball through the midfield. Luiz is sitting on the ball now, 10 yards inside their half, no pressure on him. So, you know, it's become a little bit of a cagey affair at the moment. Yes,
you wonder if recent form perhaps plays into that. Yes, both sides won in the Europa League in midweek, but it's 2 defeats in their last Premier League games for Leicester, 2 defeats in their last 3 Premier League games for Arsenal. coming up against a side with whom you are level on points with in the table. You expect to be your rivals this season, and I think Matt Upton, you summed it up perfectly. Cagey at the moment at the Emirates here on 5 Live as David Luiz whips that ball out again to the left hand side to find Tierney. Ball in looking for Lacazette, and his header is claimed by Schmeichel in the 6-yard box. Well, that's almost a carbon copy of the chance that Tierney created for Aubameyang 10 minutes or so ago. This time it was Lacazette underneath it, couldn't get the power, and easy in the end for Schmeichel, although he had to watch it.
He did, just a little bit high for Lacazette, wasn't it? Good early cross from Tierney, but he got up early, Lacazette, really good hang time in the air, but he almost made contact just as he was coming back down, and the ball was probably half a yard too high for him to get over the top of it and be able to power the header downwards.
It's control from Christian Fuchs. The ball goes out for an Arsenal throw midway through the Leicester City half. 0-0 here on 5 Live, and Bellerin will play it all the way back to David Luiz, and now square to Gabriel just outside the centre circle, over the halfway line now, out to the left and Xhaka. Aubameyang back to Gabriel. Nice interchange of passes from Arsenal, but Leicester City very happy to let them do that on the halfway line. David Luiz advances forward midway through the Leicester City half. Now Ceballos right hand side to Bellerin, back to David Luiz, trying to get something moving again, looks for that ball out to the left, and it's just met on the edge of the penalty area by Tierney, who whips the ball in, and Lacazette heads wide down into the ground from 2 yards. Well, the ball came flying at him, and in the end it's taken a deflection as Lacazette headed that, gets a nick on the way through, and it will go out for an Arsenal corner. But again, it's that ball from Luiz out to the left hand side.
It's a matter of time before Leicester are going to get punished playing like this for me. They're far too deep. David Luiz allowed to go almost halfway into their half. He's capable of picking out a diagonal. He pings a lovely wide ball. Castagna gambles but doesn't quite get there, and Tierney gets the other side of him. Lacazette just can't get a clean header on the ball, otherwise it would be 1-0.
And he's there with Fuchs as well, and the decision was that the ball got a nick off Fuchs, so it is an Arsenal corner, swung in by Saka, powerfully headed away by Fuchs on the edge of his own 6-yard box, flicked on by Harvey Barnes. Maddison though won't control it, wanted the free kick, Maddison, but Leicester still coming over the halfway line with Harvey Barnes, who then does win the free kick, and that will be a yellow card for the challenge as well. Well, Maddison wanted one earlier, Leicester kept playing, Barnes picked it up, steamed over the halfway line. It's good positive running from Harvey Barnes, and was just blocked off there cynically by Bellerin, who's gone into the book.
Just dangled a leg, didn't he, Bellerin? His left leg as Barnes had knocked it past him and had left him for dead, and just hung his left leg out there and collided with Barnes. But it's a booking for Bellerin, so he's got to be careful on this near side.
Lovely back-heeled layoff for Justin to find Mendy. Arsenal with it back though. Ceballos loses out there to Tielemans, and here is Harvey Barnes running at the penalty area, left hand side, plays the ball across, gets a deflection off David Luiz, and Leno won't stop that going out for a Leicester City corner. But that's the first time, I think, Matt Upton, that we've seen Harvey Barnes drive at the Arsenal penalty area with the ball. Yeah,
and strangely enough, it's from this left hand side where he normally likes being. He's cutting into the left hand side of the box so he can open it out onto his right foot, and Thomas Partey came across and David Luiz came across just to snub it out, and the deflection just went over the line for a corner as Leno tried to gather the ball.
So half an hour gone, 0-0 between Arsenal and Leicester. James Maddison in the orange and yellow boots with his left hand in the air takes this corner from the left hand side. It's swung out to the edge of the penalty area, just bounces off Justin, and now Arsenal can break. I think Leicester were trying a training ground move there, didn't pay off, and Arsenal over the halfway line. Eventually Bellerin, some of the momentum of that break has just been lost, and then that's a late challenge there from Christian Fuchs, comes sliding in, takes out Lacazette. It will be an Arsenal free kick and a yellow card, deservedly, for Christian Fuchs.
It was a rash tackle, wasn't it, from Fuchs? He didn't need to make it. They'd done so well, Leicester. They'd held up the counter-attack. They'd got bodies back. But as the ball was played out to Lacazette, Fuchs just made the decision to think he could get there first and win the ball. He didn't need to win it. Lacazette put his foot down in the turf, and he really did clatter into the back of him, and the referee had no qualms to get the yellow card out.
So free kick for Arsenal midway through the Leicester City half on this right-hand side. Saka is there, Ceballos as well. The red and blue shirts lining up just outside the penalty area. And Saka will leave it for Ceballos. It's a low delivery. Xhaka tries to head it on into the penalty area. Cleared away by Johnny Evans. Will be brought down by Thomas Partey for Arsenal. 0-0 with Leicester here on 5 Live. Now Xhaka sends it back to the halfway line.
Strange set pieces, aren't we? We've seen a couple. The corner there from
putting
Leicester.
It mildly.
The corner there from Leicester was very bizarre to the back, and that ball from Ceballos, I mean, it was kind of like chest height, just like smashed, drilled really low onto the D in the 18-yard. I don't know what any player's supposed to do with that, other than just what happened, which was to head it up in the air.
And Ceballos has just given the ball away, just inside the Leicester half, and Pratt will turn on the edge of the centre circle. Lacazette almost latches onto that. Fofana gets there just ahead of him, and Lacazette then fouls Fofana, who is down, clutching his knee. Craig Pawson just trotting over. Well, Leicester almost playing themselves into trouble of their own making there, and Fofana doing well to get there first.
Yeah, for me it boils down to the fact that Leicester don't have an option going forward, so I don't know who it was in the middle of the park, had to turn around with it and play the ball backwards, and it was a bit of a hospital pass for Fofana, and he dealt with it. Lacazette was never going to get there, but he quite rightly so pressurised him, but he made a lunge for the ball, and it does look nasty, I have to say. Fofana's down on the floor, and you know when you tap the ground, when you can really feel that pain, it might have been a dead leg, whether or not Lacazette's knee went clattering into his thigh, but he's in a little bit of bother here, and hopefully he'll be back up on his feet and be able to carry on.
Yes, he does look in pain, Wesley Fofana, and this would be a real blow for Leicester City. As we mentioned earlier, they already have Soyuncu out. Fofana's come in, the 19-year-old, done very well, and he is still receiving some treatment. He's just staggered back up to his feet, and Leicester will be hopeful that he can continue, as we just saw a replay of that earlier chance for Lacazette that was ruled out for offside, and he called it at the time, Matt Upson. It is Xhaka just standing in front of Kasper Schmeichel as Lacazette flicks it on, and it bounces off the post and in, ruled out for offside, and that is why we are still Arsenal 0, Leicester City 0. Fofana just limps over to that far side. It looks as though he will be able to continue though, which is very good news for Leicester City.
It is. I mean, he took the full weight of Lacazette there, really hunted the ball down, but was never going to get there, and he's got away with one, Lacazette, because I don't think he went in the book, but maybe accidentally he really did catch Fofana full weight behind it.
So Schmeichel sends the free kick long for Leicester City. Justin heads it on the edge of the penalty area into the box, but it's easy for Leno, and there, Matt Upson, is exactly what you were just talking about. There's just nobody there to aim for Leicester City. No,
nothing. I mean, they're hitting long balls, anything wide. They've not got an aerial person to compete. Maddison's not going to get up and win a header. Pratt isn't. Harvey Barnes is okay in the air. He'll challenge and try and use his strength and size, but it's quite comfortable for Arsenal at the moment, and you just wonder if they are going to play almost a false nine or drop deep, then they've got to be a little bit cleverer with their passing through midfield, and the wing backs for me have got to be really attacking and really try and get up the pitch and run beyond to get behind the Arsenal back four, which is susceptible. If they do that, you know, it is there to be attacked.
Fuchs heads it forward to James Justin, who is challenged by David Luiz. The throw goes Leicester City's way. Yeah, we've seen James Justin getting forward on this left hand side, but Castagna has not done that on the right for Leicester City as the ball goes all the way back to Bernd Leno. Ironically, Brendan Rodgers was talking about Islam Slimani, who is not on the bench for Leicester City today, and talking about how he is a player that the team need to get crosses in early to. That was exactly what that delivery would have done for Slimani, would have been perfect for him. Obviously not in favour at the moment for Leicester City.
I mean, that far side really hasn't had any action, has it, with Pratt and Castagna, as you mentioned. They haven't really been in possession. They've not interlinked at all. They've not had any combinations and got wide or got crosses or driven into the box. Everything's been over this near side with Harvey Barnes drifting over this side and James Justin pushing on quite high from left wing back.
Arsenal in possession, 0-0 with Leicester here on 5 Live. Just over 8 minutes to go until half-time. Here is David Luiz out on the right-hand side to Bellerin, and back to Ceballos, who was closed down quickly there by Maddison. Haven't mentioned him much in the last 10 minutes or so. And Gabriel whips it forward looking for Saka. Lovely control for the youngster. Tries to play it into Lacazette, and the ricochet on the edge of the penalty area will carry it all the way through to Kasper Schmeichel. But there is the threat and the danger and the penetration from Arsenal.
Well, that first touch of Saka's worth a second look, isn't it? It's a beautiful touch. It was absolutely pinged into him about knee high, and he controls it beautifully with his left instep and just cushions it into his path, so he's running straight at the Leicester back four, but couldn't quite find the pass to find Lacazette and get a shooting opportunity.
Forward from Johnny Evans, looking for Justin, headed away by Bellerin, collected by Aubameyang. So Lacazette, nice back heel, trying to find Aubameyang, was well anticipated by Fofana, who looks to be moving well for Leicester City after that collision with Lacazette. And Fofana on the ball now again.
Well, just there, Vicky, turnover in midfield. It was lovely. Fofana nicks it. He plays the ball into midfield, and you think, let the ball roll across you. Right, we're on the attack now, and there's just nothing ahead of the Leicester midfield. So all of a sudden, the ball gets played backward. It comes out to Fuchs. Now Johnny Evans is on the ball, and this has been the pattern, especially the last 15 minutes, where they're just not getting at Arsenal at all.
Leicester will lose possession just inside their own half. Justin coming off worst against Aubameyang, who sends it back to David Luiz. Just ambles through his own half. 0-0 here on 5 Live. Remember, 6:06 follows this commentary. Have your say with Robbie and Chris from 9 o'clock this evening. Reflect on all the weekend's football action as Arsenal spread it out to the left-hand side and back again. Thomas Partey as an option in the centre. Instead, it's played from Xhaka all the way to David Luiz. Over the halfway line now, the Brazilian again looks for that ball out to the left. It's so predictable. Sometimes comes off for Arsenal though. Tierney plays it infield to Saka. Hacked away by Leicester City on the edge of their penalty area. Will come straight back at them though. Here is Xhaka. Plays it back to David Luiz just inside the centre circle.
I mean, he's halfway in the Leicester half, and there's no player pressurising him. It's unbelievable. He's literally is bang on between the halfway line and the 18-yard box of Leicester, just drifting in with the ball, and David Luiz can pass it. He's not, he can pick those. He already has. He's hit 2 in behind and caused a problem. And I just feel that Harvey Barnes, Maddison, whether or not it's something that Brendan Rodgers is really signalling to say stay deep all the time, but Arsenal were capable of picking a pass, and sooner or later you just feel it's going to happen.
Flag up against Saka in the penalty area. Didn't manage to control it anyway, the youngster. But yes, as you say, Matt Upson, they are dropping so deep, Leicester City. They need to find more movement up top as well. It's something that Brendan Rodgers has wanted to see, but they are struggling here against Arsenal. We haven't made them pay as yet. Aubameyang drives the shot in, and it deflects off David Luiz and goes behind for a Leicester goal kick. But again, David Luiz there, striding into the penalty area, as he is wont to do on occasion. That time caused problems for Aubameyang rather than solutions, but Arsenal, I think, are being emboldened by Leicester dropping so deep.
Yeah, he got in the way of Aubameyang there, but his intentions were very aggressive. They were of attack in mind, and he stepped in brilliantly and stole the ball off Harvey Barnes. It went to get played into him, and he read the play, Luiz, and stepped in and took the ball off him in front, and then continued his run into the box and just got in the way of Aubameyang's left-footed curler, which looked to be going on target, to be honest.
Yes, frustration for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, frustration for Arsenal. 0-0 with Leicester City, 5 minutes until half-time. Bellerin, good challenge just inside his own half. Ceballos loses out there, and here is Maddison trying to dink it straight away to Barnes. Will play back to Tielemans, and that ball almost found Pratt. It does, spins out to the right-hand side. It was just forced wide there. Pratt tried a little back heel to bring Castagne into the play, but instead it's stolen by Saka, and Saka is then brought down over on that far side, and it will be a yellow card, and Arsenal have a free kick just inside their own half. But that almost paid off for Leicester City, but just a little back heel there from Pratt, and Tielemans coming in, taking one for the team, I think we call that, Matt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I think Xhaka made a really important touch in that build-up. I mean, it broke to Leicester, they'd rode a couple of tackles, and he was just got a toe on the ball, which forced it Pratt wide. I think if he hadn't got that little touch, Pratt could have had his first touch driving into the 18-yard box, and there was a shooting opportunity. So it just shows you how quickly Leicester can break if it breaks down, and they find the solution with the pass.
Xhaka involved again here, trying to find his own solution with the pass out to Aubameyang, right hand side. Now swung into the area by Ceballos, met by Saka on the edge of the 6-yard box, and hits the side netting. And again, the flag is up on this near side. Well, that time it didn't go into the goal. Every time Arsenal seem to get into the penalty area, that flag goes up a couple of seconds later. That is what they're told to do now. The assistants wait until the move is completed. But they'll just be checking constantly, won't they, Matt Upson? But again, Saka's so lively there.
Yeah, I mean, the linesman's got a sore arm on this side, the amount of time his flag's been up this first half, but he's spot on there, got it just about right, half a yard offside Saka, but Ceballos whipping a lovely first-time left-footed cross, and Arsenal really are enjoying that ball, aren't they? They keep hitting that cross or diagonal ball into the corner of the Leicester box, and more often than not, an Arsenal player is getting on the end of it.
Ball headed out by Tierney for a Leicester City throw. Midway inside their own half over on that right-hand side. 0-0 with Arsenal here at the Emirates on 5 Live. Tielemans out to the right-hand side. Very well won back by Arsenal, and Saka in field 2. Aubameyang forward to Lacazette, well read by Johnny Evans, but Arsenal will pick it up again, and Evans is now out of position. Very important challenge by Christian Fuchs to stop the momentum of that Arsenal attack, and Maddison can bring it over the halfway line now for Leicester City as they try and break on Arsenal. 0-0 here on 5 Live. Justin down to the penalty area trying to flick it in field. Ceballos gets a challenge in, will come back out to Justin, left hand side, and now Maddison, edge of the box, flicks it with the outside of his boot to Barnes, back to Mendy, again forced out of the penalty area, back to Fuchs now, left hand side, plays it down to Justin, and Leicester just slow the play down. Harvey Barnes now 25 yards out, plays it to Tielemans on the right, and the momentum just draining out of this Leicester City attack. Johnny Evans steps into the Arsenal half, now Mendy on the left hand side for Leicester City, in field to Tielemans, and now Fuchs, space for Maddison midway through the Arsenal half. All the red shirts back now defending. Christian Fuchs again. Leicester City will have to try and pick the lock if they're to get past Arsenal on this attack, having had that early momentum as Maddison exchanges it with Fuchs. Fuchs then tries the ball through the centre, and it's well read by Dani Ceballos, and Partey will bring it away for Arsenal.
Yeah, one of the first times, Leicester's really opened up for them, and they won a couple of tackles in the middle of the park. I think there was 2 or 3 different, Arsenal won it back, then Johnny Evans stepped in and won it, and there was a bit of an interchange of tackles. The ball broke through for Leicester, and there was space all of a sudden, and there's been not much of that in this game, has there? Both teams been very organised, and as we mentioned earlier, a little bit cagey, so those opportunities to counter-attack and do it quickly, I think whoever does that well is going to create some opportunities.
Very good interception from Fofana there to stop Saka racing into the penalty area, and Fofana is on the ball now, sends it back to Kasper Schmeichel. Arsenal 0, Leicester 0 as we approach the final 30 seconds of this first half, as Tielemans is just caught there by Lacazette, and Leicester City will have a free kick taken quickly by Tielemans, trying to set Pratt away behind the Arsenal back line, and very well read the danger there by Kieran Tierney. The Scotland international comes in, gets there before Pratt can latch onto it outside the penalty area, and plays it back to Leno.
It's bright from Tielemans to play the early free kick, and just as Fuchs has been taking these early throw-ins, it's nice to just change the tempo of the game, which has been a bit slow at times, just every now and then just to spot something and play it quickly, or try and clip it over the top, just see if you can catch the defence off guard.
Here is Partey in possession for Arsenal as we enter 2 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Goalless between Arsenal and Leicester City. Arsenal with the ball on the halfway line, back to David Luiz, where we see that pass out again to the left hand side. He's thinking about it, isn't he?
He really, his head's up looking.
Little look over to the left there.
Well, he's thinking, well, it might be on. There's no pressure on the ball. I can just stroll in, and if I fancy hitting it, then I will, And if it's opening up, Tierney's got his arms up in the air, and as we've seen, David Luiz has the passing capability to hit that diagonal.
He opts to stay with the ball on the ground though to Granit Xhaka. Harvey Barnes comes to close down David Luiz, who goes all the way back to Bernd Leno, and there was just a little shrug of the shoulders there from David Luiz, saying, I need some options here. Plays it out now from Partey to the right hand side, and Bellerin on the halfway line. 0-0 between Arsenal and Leicester here on 5 Live. Earlier, Southampton 2, Everton 0, Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Xhaka now rumbling into the Leicester City half, plays it out to the left, and Tierney up against Castagna and field to Lacazette, just challenged on the edge of the penalty area by Mendy. And Leicester will send the ball all the way back to Schmeichel, who clears first time up towards the halfway line. Lovely cushioned header by Granit Xhaka back to Gabriel. But I noted at half time, Steve Crossman in the Wolves-Newcastle game said that the producer at that match was talking about a lovely pass out from defence. I'm sure, I know it'll be Jeanette Quachi, but I'm sorry, Jeanette. Nice cushioned header back is one of the best offerings from this first half, really.
Yeah, there's not been massive amounts to kind of write home about, has there, in terms of goal mouth action? I know we've had a disallowed goal, and a bit of probing from Arsenal, who have probably looked the most likely, haven't they, in terms of creating a goal-scoring opportunity, just through how good the passing's been and the movement of the wing-backs with Tierney and Bellerin at full-back have really been a really good attacking option for Arsenal.
Yes, Leno, apart from an early shaky movement where Maddison tried to chip him and sent the ball wide, has had absolutely nothing to do as the half-time whistle goes at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Leicester City 0. And Matt Upson, I think Arsenal will be more pleased with that half. Leicester need to find a spark in the second.
Yeah, I think both managers will want more, for sure. I mean, neither team has really hit the full heights that we know they can. I think Leicester have definitely been cagey in this very deep approach, and you know, without a main striker pressing high up the pitch, and the midfield have dropped very close to the back four, so it is a difficult game to break down, and I think that is the main question that Mikel Arteta is going to be asking his Arsenal players, and have they got the creativity to be able to break Leicester down.
Well, Thomas Partey has made his full Premier League debut this afternoon. Will we see Jamie Vardy joining the party for the second half for Leicester City? Arsenal 0, Leicester City 0 at the Emirates at half-time. Thank you, Jeanette. Leicester's players just jogging out onto the pitch. Arsenal's players out already in their red shirts, the white shorts and the red socks. Leicester City playing in their traditional home kit tonight as well, all blue. And we need a spark, don't we, Matt? And Leicester City certainly do after that first half.
Definitely. I mean, it needs something, and you know, I think it's a mindset of both teams. Leicester more than Arsenal. I think Leicester have been a little bit more cautious, but it's going to be interesting to see whether Arsenal can raise this game. I mean, they've got Partey, who's obviously, we spoke a lot about him before the game, but I haven't really seen him tested particularly in a defensive fashion, and it's just been not a lot of pressure on the Arsenal midfield, so he's been able to be very comfortable with the ball too. So I'd like to see Leicester get up and see what Partey's made of.
So we are underway in this second half, 0-0 at the Emirates. Arsenal kicking from right to left, no changes for either side at half time, so we will run you through the two lineups in a moment. They try and spring Aubameyang behind straight away, Arsenal, but the ball is all the way through to Kasper Schmeichel, who is taking his time to send that out of the penalty area, does so now over the halfway line. That is so aimless from Schmeichel, and again Leicester City from that have learned nothing from the first half, because there's no focal point up there. Maddison is now switched into this central role, but it was 15-20 yards over his head all the way through to Leno. Yeah,
he's usually very measured with his distribution as well. Kasper Schmeichel, he's got a fabulous right foot that can, you know, pick passes out and drop the ball on a sixpence, but that certainly wasn't it. It was just a hopeful punt up the pitch, and they have nobody down the middle who's going to get hold of the ball. I think Maddison looks to have drifted a little bit more central at the start of the second half, with Harvey Barnes out on his familiar left-hand side of the pitch and Pratt on the right-hand side. So let's see if Maddison can play that role differently.
So Arsenal in possession with Gabriel, sends it forward to Saka on this left-hand side, back to Granit Xhaka, square in the centre circle now to Dani Ceballos. Ceballos just checks and looks for an option running into the penalty area. There isn't one though, so sends it out to the right hand side, and Aubameyang all the way back to Gabriel now in the centre circle, and square to Xhaka, closed down by Pratt, out to Tierney. Arteta is just standing there with his left arm outstretched saying go forward. Arsenal instead go backwards to Gabriel and now David Luiz. So we will take you through the lineups. Leno in goal for Arsenal, back four of Bellerin, Luiz, Gabriel and Tierney, Partey, Ceballos and Xhaka in midfield, with Aubameyang, Saka and Lacazette up front. Lacazette playing through the middle, Aubameyang playing on the right this evening, Saka playing on the left, as Leicester City clear away to the halfway line, picked up again by David Luiz and square to Gabriel, closed down by James Maddison. That's a poor ball from Gabriel. He's played it straight to Dennis Pratt on this right hand side, tried to play Maddison in through the middle, and it's all the way through to Leno. Well, the execution was lacking there from Dennis Pratt, but the idea was right.
That was a poor choice from Pratt, wasn't it? I understand the idea. He's broken down the right hand side, Maddison's in the middle, but Gabriel picks up a pretty good position to think, well, okay, if you're going to play that along the floor, I'm going to just take that line. I'm going to take that line and make you really make a clever pass. And he just needed to lift the ball, in my opinion. He tried to play it in front of Maddison, but it was so far in front that Leno just came out comfortably and dealt with it. And I think in the meantime, David Luiz has gone to the floor. It looks like some form of muscle or hamstring or calf or something. So I'm not sure if he'll be able to continue. I see Mustafi pulling off his bib and pulling his gloves off.
Yes, he's down just outside his own penalty area. David Luiz, he was racing to try and get back to help out there. In the end, the ball going all the way through to Bernd Leno, and Shkodran Mustafi has stripped off that training top and is receiving his final instructions on the bench for the first time in the Premier League today. This season he was back in the matchday squad in midweek against Rapid Vienna, but this will be Mustafi's first appearance since the FA Cup semi-final victory over Manchester City. He's been out with a hamstring injury, and David Luiz it will be who limps off, and Mustafi will come on to replace him. It's a shame for Luiz. He's played well, hasn't been tested that much defensively, but we've seen a few lovely balls out to that left-hand side and Tierney from Luiz. His passing's been on point, as you said, in the first half.
Yeah, they're going to miss the creative element of what David Luiz brings to the team. He hasn't been tested defensively, which is more so his Achilles heel, which is all down to Leicester not questioning that or not testing that. But with the ball, he's been pretty dangerous for Arsenal, picked out a couple of lovely passes, which we know he can, and I'm not sure if Mustafi's quite got that same quality with the ball.
So Mustafi is on, Luiz is off. The first change of the match, the first enforced change for Arsenal, who are in possession 0-0 with Leicester City. 4.5 minutes played in this second half as Mustafi squares it to Gabriel, and Maddison playing in more of an advanced role, having drifted into the centre than Harvey Barnes did in the first half, as Arsenal play the ball into the Leicester City half. Throw taken quickly by Tierney, and now back to Xhaka and Mustafi, and Maddison drops back into that defensive position as Arsenal advance through the Leicester City half, out to the left hand side, and Xhaka back to Gabriel, looking for options, trying to play it through the Leicester City lines, almost did so. Leicester get a foot in on the edge of their own penalty area, and it's all the way back with Gabriel on the halfway line. Again, just looking for an option, send it out to Mustafi over on the right hand side of that centre circle, and now Ceballos. There's Bellerin as an option, but opts to go all the way back to Mustafi, and I think we're going to be in for some more patient build-up in this second half, Matt Upson.
It appears so, to be honest. That is been the pattern of the start of this second half. There hasn't been an injection or that spark that we were talking about at half-time that we were hoping for. I mean, Leicester have dropped back into normal service in terms of allowing Arsenal to have the ball as Mustafi just rolls his foot over it on the halfway line, and Harvey Barnes, I think it is, just ambles out to him and doesn't really try and pressure. They're just holding position, Leicester, but you know that they need to spring into life in moments like this when the ball turns over and Tielemans is now on the ball, but gives a really sloppy pass. Arsenal regain possession, and we're back to where we were before.
Yes, he was trying to find Justin on that left-hand side. Tielemans, who took up an advanced position again, the Leicester left wing back, but Arsenal win it back. Here is Partey to Saka, who then turned under pressure from Fofana, and that will be a free kick for Arsenal and a yellow card for Wesley Fofana as Saka thumps the ground in pain.
Well, Fofana doing to Saka what Lacazette did to him in the first half. Just tried to step in front, but Saka gets his body in the way, and Fofana just kicks through the back of him. Saka's still laying on the floor. Looks like he's really felt the effects of that knock.
There's another lovely turn from Saka, wasn't it? We saw that skill several occasions in the first half. Yeah,
just let the ball roll across him, didn't he? I think it's a split-second judgment that a player makes when they receive that ball. They've got to judge whether or not there's enough pace on the ball for it to roll past you, and not too much so it's going to roll beyond you, and he's got a great understanding of that and makes really good choices.
He's just clambering to his feet, Bukayo Saka, and Arsenal will have this free kick. Best part of 30 yards or so out on the left-hand side, central left position, dinked in by Ceballos, again cleared away by Leicester City on the edge of the penalty area, up towards the halfway line. Again, it's Ceballos again, isn't it? We saw that, you were saying, at half-time in the first half, and it's that low ball into the edge of the penalty area, and it's just not doing enough damage from Dani Ceballos.
I mean, there's no point going up as a centre-back. There is no point in going up for a delivery like that. At least you want the ball in the middle of the box and you can have an opportunity to compete.
Leicester give the free kick away, and Arsenal take it quickly. Lacazette over the halfway line to Aubameyang, approaching the penalty area, back to Lacazette. Very good challenge from Mendy, just poking a toe in to get there ahead of Lacazette, and the ball is cleared away by Leicester City. But that was good quick thinking by Arsenal, who have it back just inside their own half.
Yeah, there hasn't been enough of that quick play, has there? Catching the opposition out just to create the space. Everything's been so condensed, but they've had a few moments of where the ball's changed possession or there's been a mistake, and there's all of a sudden the wide flanks have opened up, and that was one of them.
Gabriel challenged by Maddison, who wins the ball and then goes for goal from just inside the Arsenal half, and that time I don't think that was the right decision, because Leno wasn't really off his line as he was in the first half when Maddison tried to catch him out early on, and Arsenal will send the ball forward. James Justin, though, gets the better of Aubameyang, and Leicester City have the ball just outside their own penalty area. But we know Maddison can score brilliant goals, but wrong decision there.
Wrong decision, but it says a lot that's the option that he feels is best at that time, and that's worrying for Leicester, in the sense that he feels that a shot where the goalkeeper hasn't come off his line to try and chip the keeper from that range is the right option, and I think he had very little else on.
Flicked on by Pratt in the middle of the Leicester half, headed forward by Tierney for Arsenal. Lacazette underneath it, sends it away from goal rather than towards the penalty area. Pratt loses out for Leicester, and Xhaka picks it up, and Pratt challenges him. Xhaka looked like he might have been caught there. Pratt says he got the ball, and referee Craig Pawson agrees. The shot comes in from Maddison, takes a little deflection and goes behind for a corner.
Yeah, Pratt just defensively doing really well. Just stole the ball off Xhaka, who was too slow getting rid of it. Harvey Barnes takes up control of the ball, pops it to Maddison, who shifts it onto his right foot, tries to curl it to Leno's left-hand corner. It just flicks off Gabriel and goes out for a corner.
And Arsenal might have a concern here, because Bukayo Saka has gone down again. He's got up, he's hobbling more than anything towards his own penalty area to try and help defend this corner kick, but they'll have to keep an eye on him. He's not moving freely, Bukayo Saka, as Leicester City prepares to take this corner. James Maddison walking over to this near side. 0-0 between Arsenal and Leicester here on 5 Live. 10 minutes gone in this second half here at the Emirates, as Maddison has Tielemans as a short option, but looks as though he will swing this one in, Maddison, and he does, to the edge of the 6-yard box. It was a good delivery, headed up and away by Mustafi, brought down almost by Aubameyang on the edge of the area, and then Saka helps out. Lacazette loses out, and he is adjudged to have committed the foul, Lacazette, and it will be a free kick to Leicester City. Mendy going down, and this is a dangerous position, central position, 25 yards out.
Yeah, it's a fair way out, but sometimes it's better to be a little bit further out. It gives the opportunity for players like Maddison to hit that ball that dips, can really put some power on it, and even bounce it in front of Leno, which is off this kind of wet, zippy surface, which it is here this evening. It's quite difficult for a goalkeeper, so wouldn't surprise me if we saw that type of dipping shot here from Maddison or Tielemans.
It is Maddison and Tielemans that are by the ball for Leicester City. Fofana is just on the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. Tierney's just having a look over his shoulder, making sure that Leicester aren't going to try something a little tricky, but I think Maddison is going to go for goal here. Here is Maddison. He did go for goal, and it's over the goal and behind.
More of a curler, wasn't it? It didn't really get that power, or how the players tend to hit it with the instep, almost like with the knuckle of the foot, and just try and get it up and over the wall with power. It's far too high and not enough power. It's almost like a curling effort that is really harmlessly wide and high.
Something you can see again that Leicester have worked on, though, as Johnny Evans tangles with Lacazette. The free kick goes Johnny Evans' way, and Evans looks to have fallen awkwardly here, as Lacazette is the latest player to go into the book. The yellow cards are out in this second half from Craig Pawson. And that's a painful one for Johnny Evans.
Lacazette is crashing around the pitch like a battering ram at the moment. He really is getting stuck in and shoulder charging people. He really went into Evans with intent there, because I've just seen the slow motion, and he has a tiny little glance to see that Evans is coming, and it's very difficult as a centre back. You come in to attack the ball in the end. Once you leave the ground, you are just vulnerable, and if a player wants to collide with you, you can really end up going over the top of them and landing on your shoulder or your neck, and it can be quite uncomfortable. And Evans is just walking off, holding his back.
And Fofana will send that free kick long for Leicester City, flicked on by Harvey Barnes, but nobody there. Mustafi will clear away, and in the red seats in front of us, Jamie Vardy is getting ready to come on for Leicester City. The talisman in so many matches, but particularly against Arsenal. He has a superb record against the club, whom he decided not to join all the way back in the summer of 2016. What a long time ago that seems now. How different things might have been for Jamie Vardy and Leicester City had he taken that move, but he didn't. He is here, he is their star man, and he is about to come on as Arsenal play the ball forward to this left hand side to Saka, moving a little bit more easily now. The youngster dinks it forward looking for Tierney. Good run, Tierney down to the byline, scooped the ball across, and an excellent sliding interception from Fofana sends it out for an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, lovely interchange from these two wide on the left. They do link up well, Saka and Tierney, with Saka being deeper there and Tierney going beyond him. That's what I like about Kieran Tierney. He's a good defender, but he really chooses well to get forward and times his runs brilliantly. It's a lovely curled ball from Saka and good block from Fofana.
So still 0-0, 14 minutes gone in the second half, but Arsenal corner taken short to Saka, who plays it to the edge of the penalty area, and Bellerin back out to the left hand side, and Saka now will whip the ball in, and it's hacked away on the edge of his own 6-yard box by Castagna for another Arsenal corner.
Did you say that Wayne Rooney's the only player to have scored more against Arsenal than Jamie Vardy?
In the Premier League,
in the Premier League.
That's
amazing, that.
Yeah, 10 for Vardy, right. 12 for Wayne Rooney. And Jamie Vardy just receiving his final instructions as Arsenal swing this corner in. It's hacked clear on the edge of the 6-yard box by Tielemans. Saka will try and head it back forward, only heads it into Nampalys Mendy, and that ball won't be kept in by Ceballos. And Leicester City will have a throw on this near side, and here he comes. Jamie Vardy's missed the last 2 games with a calf injury, and he will replace Dennis Pratt with half an hour to play. And we have to say, Matt Upson, do you think this has been a tactic from Brendan Rodgers? If you know that Jamie Vardy only has half an hour in him, you are prepared to sit deep, you're prepared to try something by putting Barnes or Maddison up front, but your killer game plan, as it were, is to keep it tight, make sure it's 0-0, 1-0 up if you can be, and then get Jamie Vardy on.
You have to say that it could well have come into his thinking, but I'm just looking at the way Leicester have started since Vardy's come off the pitch. All of a sudden they just seem to have a different tempo, a different lift. Harvey Barnes, a lovely flick ball round the corner, Vardy running in behind. All of a sudden the body language looks different. It's a bizarre shift in what it has been before.
Well, Leicester City are furious here because they feel they should have had a free kick on James Justin, who went down midway through the Arsenal half over on that left hand side. It was Bellerin who came flying in, and a heap of blue shirts surrounding referee Craig Pawson when the decision didn't go Leicester City's way. Well,
it's a crazy decision not to give a foul for that, but also Bellerin's on a yellow card. If I'm right, I'm sure he got booked in the first half.
Yeah, so, he did.
You know, he's really got away with him because he went to ground, he slid low, he didn't get the ball, and he contacted James Justin. So I can totally understand why the Leicester players were appealing.
Nothing doing though, and we remain at 0-0. 16 minutes gone in this second half. But Jamie Vardy on the pitch for Leicester. The lines are open now for 606, which follows us with Robbie and Chris. Book your call now, 08085 909 693. As Arsenal play the ball forward, Saka heads it against Fofana, who then tumbles. Saka says get up. Referee Craig Pawson agrees, and the throw goes Arsenal's way. Just a little tangle there between the two 19-year-olds. And Arsenal preparing to launch this throw long, it looks like, with Kieran Tierney, who is winding it up, just wiping the ball on that red Arsenal shirt. Gabriel has drifted into the penalty area. Plenty of players to aim for as Tierney launches it long into the box, edge of the 6-yard area. It's a dangerous one, cleared away by Tielemans for Leicester City. And Jamie Vardy won't latch onto that, and Mustafi will chest it down on the halfway line.
Yeah, good throw from Tierney, wasn't it? I mean, got a good distance. You don't picture him to have a really good long throw, but it definitely has got the ability to hit that beyond that 6-yard box line, which is far enough for somebody like Gabriel just to flick one on and cause a different type of problem for the Leicester defence.
Here is Gabriel in possession for Arsenal, just inside his own half. Now Xhaka square to Mustafi over the halfway line, finds Bellerin, who, as Matt Upson was saying, is perhaps lucky not to be penalised either with a free kick or a second yellow card for that late challenge on James Justin. But we remain at 11-11 and 0-0 as Saka won't reach that, and the ball goes out of play for a Leicester City goal kick. Well, as the guys were mentioning earlier, it is a year to the day since Leicester City beat Southampton 9-0. I think I'd settle for one goal at the moment. Matt Upson to liven this up for either side.
I'll definitely take a goal at the moment. And I think it would really totally transform the game, because you just feel that the caginess is there, and it would just have to loosen that a little bit, because somebody would have to show their hand. And whether it be Arsenal or Leicester, I think you'd see a real change in the tempo and the way that the players are playing.
Fuchs plays the ball forward looking for Harvey Barnes, but will roll all the way through to Mustafi, and it's now back with Gabriel. Square to Granit Xhaka. 0-0 here at the Emirates on 5 Live. Earlier in the Premier League, Southampton 2, Everton 0. Everton's unbeaten start to the Premier League season is over, and it finished Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Arsenal in possession with Mustafi over the halfway line, gets it back from Bellerin. We were mentioning Leicester's terrible record away to Arsenal, haven't beaten them on their last 27 trips. Arsenal conversely have a very good, decent home record just generally in the Premier League. Haven't lost at the Emirates in 2020 as Tielemans wins possession for Leicester midway through his own half. Over to the left hand side now, and Harvey Barnes has Bellerin for company, and Justin racing ahead on the overlap, but Barnes just stops and checks and pulls it back to Mendy. And it's just too predictable from Leicester City, isn't it? All the way back to Johnny Evans inside his own half, and Fofana will now try and build through the centre.
Yeah, no, they weren't able to hit on the break then. I think they're looking more to do that since Vardy's come on, and I've seen a little change in the tempo of Harvey Barnes. Just appears to be happier out on that left-hand side, knowing he's got his usual centre-forward partner there. They've got a good understanding and like to just flick those little balls round the corner and link up together.
Arsenal's turn to make a change, and it will be Saka to come off, and Nicola Pepe, the club record signing, enters the field. Saka again, probably one of Arsenal's liveliest players this evening, Matt Upson.
Yeah, no, I'm really impressed with Saka. He's had a great few weeks, hasn't he, really? He's really acquitted himself well and put in some good performances, and he's a key part of this Arsenal team at the moment, and versatile as well, which I think is great for a young player. He can play in midfield, he can play wide, and as we spoke before, he could probably play out on this right hand side as well.
Here come Arsenal over the halfway line. Granit Xhaka looking to play in, Aubameyang behind, excellently read again at the back by Leicester City, and Fofana, who's another teenager who's impressed this evening. Fofana in the right wing position now, the centre half, back to Tielemans, who will send it all the way back to Johnny Evans, and he will square it to Christian Fuchs as Fofana just jogs back into his own half, and Tielemans will play it back to Johnny Evans. This is our last Premier League commentary of the day on 5 Live, but we've got more Premier League action for you tomorrow. Burnley against Tottenham tomorrow evening. Build up in 5 Live Sport from 7 o'clock. Leicester City with the ball over the halfway line now. Harvey Barnes just turning with that little burst of pace that we've started to see, as Matt Upson says, since Jamie Vardy has come on. Hasn't managed to get on the ball yet, Vardy, but we know how lethal he can be when he does, particularly against Arsenal, as Tielemans sends it back to Christian Fuchs just inside the centre circle, forward to Maddison, who's dropped a little deeper now, having played in that false 9 role for 15 minutes or so of this second half. And Fofana has it now with Tielemans back to Johnny Evans in the centre circle, and I can certainly bring you in, Matt Upson, because nothing's happening.
It's hard to judge Thomas Partey off this, isn't it? I mean, that's the one thing. It's very difficult to judge him as a player off of this game, because in his area of the pitch there really hasn't been a lot that's happened, has there? I mean, there's not been any real waves of counter-attacks or been having to defend, passages of play, or been camped on the edge of their box, Arsenal, or it's just been relatively tactical and shifting position, which he has done very well, but he hasn't really been put to the test yet, and I think it's a shame we haven't seen that from Leicester tonight to really challenge him.
Here is Aubameyang racing down the left-hand side for Arsenal, down to the byline, pulls the ball across, it will be met and brilliantly saved by Kasper Schmeichel from Bellerin. That was a lovely effort from the Arsenal fullback and a good save by Schmeichel, and now Leicester City can break over the halfway line. Forced to go back to Tielemans as Arsenal get the red shirts back, and Maddison, who picks up a yellow card for Leicester City in that move just before Aubameyang broke away down the left-hand side, will play it out to Fofana, getting in a more advanced position Fofana in this second half, but that's a poor ball straight into the penalty area, straight to Bernd Leno.
Well, just when the tempo of the game lifted up and we had a great goal scoring opportunity, it's a lovely volley from Bellerin coming in off of a cross with his left foot from Aubameyang. Then all of a sudden we go back down again, don't we, to a really poor pass from Tielemans, who looked to the sky once he'd hit it because he knows he's better than that. But you know, this has been the story of the game, but hopefully we can sustain that type of standard that Aubameyang and Bellerin showed there. We can have a bit of a grandstand finish to this game.
Commentators cursed their Matt Upson because Mustafi played it straight out of play. Bellerin couldn't reach it, and Leicester City have a throw and they almost lose possession. They do lose possession through just a loose touch there, but cleared away before Arsenal can make the most of that counter, and Gabriel has it just outside his own penalty area, just eased over by Jamie Vardy, and will win the free kick for Arsenal. Plenty of Champions League action coming up for you this week on 5 Live as well. On Tuesday we have full commentary of Marseille against Manchester City, and on Wednesday join us for Manchester United against Leipzig. Arsenal in possession just outside their own penalty area midway through the second half, and we still await the breakthrough goal. Mustafi over the halfway line looking for Tierney. Well, it wasn't a bad imitation of a David Luiz ball that we saw in the first half, was it, Matt Upson?
No, he's shown he can hit it. It was a bit flatter, but it got there.
Thomas Partey picks it up midway through the Leicester City half. Here he is again, the Ghana midfielder. In field to Xhaka, and now out to the left-hand side, and Tierney again up against Castagna, who stands up well, back to Lacazette, who had that early goal ruled out for offside in the first half. Xhaka deemed to be in an offside position. Arsenal spread the play out over to the right-hand side. Back now to Gabriel, just inside his own half, and square to Thomas Partey, who tried to whip that ball forward and does so. Finds Nicola Pepe, who's very well dispossessed by a combination of Fuchs and Mendy, and Leicester City will bring the ball away.
Well, one thing Pepe does do, he does it quickly, doesn't he? It's a little bit too frantic at times and a little bit manic, you'd have to say, but when he gets on the ball he can make something happen. It might be run at someone and you know, get a ricochet off their shin and into his path. You know, it might not be pretty at times, but he's the type of player that makes things happen, and he showed there for Arsenal. He got the ball, he turned at someone, he tried to drive at somebody. Okay, it didn't come off, but you know, at least he's trying to find an opening in this game.
Leicester City with the ball just outside their own penalty area, 0-0 here on 5 Live, and Cengiz Ünder is preparing to come on for Leicester City, just receiving final instructions from Brendan Rodgers as Fofana very calmly plays that out under pressure from Lacazette to Johnny Evans, who drives over the halfway line. Leicester City centre half trying to get things moving, but nothing doing as the ball goes over to Mendy outside the centre circle, and Johnny Evans just jogs back. It's one of those centre half moments again, Matt Upson, where you get on your bike and nothing happens and you just have to jog back to your own half.
Yeah, I mean the pitch just opened up for him, didn't it? It was nicely played through by Fofana, and he saw the space and he drove into it, popped it sideways, but nothing came of it, and the ball's now back at his feet just outside his own 18-yard box.
Lovely touch from Harvey Barnes to lay it off on that left-hand side to Mendy, forward to Justin. Has Vardy to aim for in the penalty area, just in time to the byline. It's a dangerous ball in, but straight into the arms of Bernd Leno, just too close to the Arsenal goalkeeper on that occasion.
He just decided to take Bellerin in, Justin, out on the outside, so onto his left foot, and wasn't enough space for him to get a cut back, so he just kind of played it straight across, which Leno dealt with comfortably. Excellent
covering challenge there from Bellerin on Harvey Barnes to make sure that he got there ahead of the Leicester City man, but Arsenal have given the ball away. Here is Tielemans, 30 yards out, square to Maddison, 0-0 here on 5 Live. Mendy out to the left-hand side, and Christian Fuchs. Leicester committing a few more players forward in this first half. We're seeing Fuchs and Fofana particularly as the wide centre halves of that back three, just getting into advanced positions on occasion, as Maddison has it in the centre of the park for Leicester. Back to Mendy, and now Fuchs again over on that left-hand side. Back to Mendy. Ünder is still waiting to come on the touchline, just doing a few high kicks to make sure he's fully warmed up. As Castagna picks up the ball right in front of his manager Brendan Rodgers. Tielemans then tries to find the return ball to Castagna into the penalty area. Excellent covering challenge by Gabriel, who comes across for Arsenal and then very coolly pulls the ball back from Castagna and Arsenal will clear away towards the halfway line. Evans gets there ahead of Lacazette. Lacazette wanted the foul there, not given by Craig Pawson, and Tielemans will send it out to Castagna. This is a good little spell of possession for Leicester City, more adventurous around the Arsenal penalty area than we've seen so far, but as I said, that they slow the play down again. Maddison though plays it forward, then goes down on the edge of the box, nothing given. Vardy will pull it back to Castagna, right hand side of the penalty area. Here's James Maddison, and now Vardy, bit of space, whips the ball in. It was an awkward one to do with. Gabriel gets a touch on it first time, and then Lacazette goes down right on the edge of the D. It's a clash of heads there, and Arsenal will win the free kick, and we remain at 0-0.
Yeah, it was big Johnny Evans who came through and headed the ball. He won it cleanly, there was nothing wrong with that, but Tielemans was just recovering back out of the box as Lacazette was heading towards the box, and I think with the pressure from Evans it just knocked Lacazette, and both of them collided together, and Lacazette kicking the floor as he went down, but appears to be back on his feet, a little bit dazed, but I don't think there's anything too serious.
No, it was just coming together, wasn't it? It's Evans using his arm there to get the leverage.
Yeah, Evans won the ball cleanly, but I just think the referee blew the whistle just because of the collision, and Tielemans was coming back out.
Well, Tielemans is up to his feet, as is Lacazette. Those two coming off worse though. I did see a yellow card flashed in the aftermath of that, so it might be that Craig Pawson has taken a dimmer view of that challenge.
As in from Tielemans possibly. I mean, I don't know who. It was just a collision, wasn't it?
Well, unless he felt that Evans had used the leverage with the elbow possibly and caught Lacazette.
Really? Wow.
Which I think would be surprising because, well, I mean, it's centre-halves union to my right here, Martin, but
well,
but he's won the header cleanly, but whether the elbow has been deemed illegal, it's obviously not an intentional elbow.
It was a forearm, wasn't it? Because he obviously he used his arms as leverage to jump. Your arms up, it protects yourself as well, and you know, I think players have a right to protect themselves when they jump to head the ball, and that's all Evans was doing.
Well, Leicester City have made that change. Harvey Barnes, who's worked hard today in an unfamiliar position in the first half up top and then out on the left wing, is off, and Cengiz Under, on loan from Roma, has come on. Brendan Rodgers says that he is an attacking player that can just give them something a little bit different up front, just play a little bit more football in and around those tight areas. They have pace and power, they know that, says Brendan Rodgers, hoping that Under can bring something a little different as that ball is sent long by Arsenal. Kasper Schmeichel comes all the way out of his penalty area and calmly plays that away. And here is Tielemans now advancing through his own half for Leicester City, and Vardy will chase that ball, but it will roll all the way through to Bernd Leno. Well, he is giving them that focal point, isn't he, Matt Upson, but so far they haven't managed to find Jamie Vardy.
No, but it's interesting how Maddison, he only had one thought in his head when the ball got played to him. He was on the halfway line, he'd just come inside, and he had one thought, and that was just to flip the ball in behind into the space, and he just overhit it. He didn't take enough pace off the ball, actually, Maddison, and it went a little bit straight, but the moment the ball went into Maddison, Vardy just got on his bike. He didn't even look, he just turned, span and ran, and Maddison knows exactly what he wants.
And that's what Lacazette's trying to do, turn, spin and run, but he can't get the better of Fofana, and the ball will go out for a Leicester City goal kick. You're not going to be Craig Pawson's biggest fan, Matt Upson, because we've had it confirmed that was a yellow card in the direction of Johnny Evans, and you're shaking your head.
I'm just a bit baffled, because I don't know how he expects Johnny Evans to try and win that ball, because if he doesn't put his hands up, he's just a head into his face, you know. So it's going to, if he's heading the back of Lacazette's head, so you have to use your arms as leverage. There was no inkling of Evans actually throwing his arm into the back of Lacazette. He just jumped and used them, and I think it's a really soft booking.
And it was more the collision between Lacazette and Tielemans that was the issue anyway. Obviously Evans instigating the three coming together.
Yeah, I mean, if that hadn't have happened, there would probably been no yellow card.
Dink ball over the top for Leicester City into the penalty area. We'll find Under forced wide. First time delivery into the area from Castagna, is well blocked on the edge of the box, and Castagna then does really well to nip back and stop Aubameyang breaking. Just gets a toe in, and stops the Arsenal man, but then a miscommunication as Tielemans played the ball out to the right hand side between Under and Castagna, and the recriminations are still continuing for Leicester City, because after doing well there to stop the Arsenal counter, they give the ball away needlessly, and it's Tielemans again, although I'm not sure Castagna and Under between them dealt with that situation very well.
No, I think it was just a lack of communication. Tielemans is saying to Castagna, look, I played the ball in front of you to come onto, but it was very close to the other player as well, so I can understand why both players looked at each other and just left it. But it's more Tielemans' body language, isn't it? I mean, those type of inquests and how he reacted and his facial expression, it's been one of those evenings, hasn't it? And I just think, that none of the Leicester players have really got to grips with this game and probably fulfilled how they can play.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and then Tielemans in particular will be frustrated with his distribution, a player that we know can be so on point with his passing, as Tierney tries a lovely ball through the legs of Castagna. Will be met again though by Fofana ahead of Lacazette, and Tielemans will play it back to Evans on the edge of the area. He's had a brilliant game, Wesley Fofana.
I was just about to say, he's read the play very well for a young centre-back, hasn't he? I mean, 19 years old, he's come to Leicester, they've paid a lot of money for him, but you can see why, because if he's reading the game as well as this with the experience that he has, what's to come. I can understand Brendan Rodgers' comments to say that he's going to be a big player for the club, and he's really impressed me this evening.
0-0 Arsenal and Leicester here on 5 Live. 11 minutes to play in this second half as Mendy picks it up outside the centre circle for Leicester City. Infield to Tielemans, tries to set Under away. That's a good ball. Under into the penalty area, right hand side, pulls it across to Vardy, who heads home, and Jamie Vardy does what Jamie Vardy always seems to do against Arsenal. He scores. Arsenal 0, Leicester City 1.
Well, if there's going to be a goal here this evening, if we're going to be treated with a goal this evening, it was going to be from Jamie Vardy, and it absolutely was a classic Vardy goal. Header from inside the box. It was a lovely ball. I think it was Tielemans, who we were just saying has had a really frustrating evening. He plays it wide. It's an absolutely brilliant header from Vardy as the cross comes in. I mean, it's just on a plate for him, isn't it? You have to say it's the ball from Tielemans down the side. The cross comes in, and Vardy, diving header onto all fours, just powers it into an empty net. Really carved Arsenal open with that pass, Tielemans. And this game was always going to be decided with one crucial move, wasn't it? One team really to find that cutting pass, to find the ability to open the opposition up, and Tielemans has done that with his pass.
And Arsenal responds immediately. Kieran Tierney is off, Eddie Nketiah is on. But as you say, the ball in as well, Matt Upson, and it is so unselfish from Cengiz Under, who's come on, new signing, hasn't scored yet for Leicester City, and he would have been entitled to take the shot there, although it was on an angle, but he saw Vardy unmarked and he squares it, which is not easy to do in that position.
No,
because he's on the run, he makes the decision, he gets the execution perfect, and it is on a plate for Jamie Vardy. And Under has to have so much praise there.
Yeah, Under does great. I mean, it's the run as well, it's the timing of the run, but the ball's bouncing, so it's been played through, so it's almost like a bit of a half-volleyed cross, isn't it? He's side-footed it with his right foot, and he's put it across just in the right area. I mean, Vardy couldn't miss. It was just a lovely opportunity, a little diving header, just punches it into an empty net.
Beautiful ball from Partey out to the right-hand side, and Bellerin then tried to dink the cross in and miss controls, and it's behind for a Leicester City goal kick. Well, are Leicester going to win their first game at Arsenal since 1973? 47 years it's been since they won away to the Gunners, and Brendan Rodgers with a big smile on his face as he just gives a little round of applause to his team on the edge of his technical area. We mentioned Leicester's record. Brendan Rodgers, in fact, has never won away at Arsenal as a manager. This is his 8th attempt, so we could see a little bit of history, and we have our late drama, we have our late goal, Matt Upson.
It's the grandstand finish we were asking for, and they're providing it, but it's interesting as to whether, you touched on it earlier about, was this all a ploy? Have they lured Arsenal into thinking that they're safe? And that Leicester aren't going to pose that threat here this evening, because it certainly looked like that from the goal. It was quite simple, but it really did catch Arsenal off guard.
Arsenal breaking forward with Nketiah looking dangerous. Leicester City managed to clear away. Now Arsenal have it just inside the Leicester half. Here is Ceballos trailing 1-0 late on here at the Emirates. 7.5 minutes plus added time to play. Xhaka with the throw, this time trying to get it moving quickly down the left hand side. Nketiah does well to win the throw off Castagna. Xhaka picking up the ball very quickly, playing it into Aubameyang. Back to Ceballos, forced back towards the halfway line, and now Leicester City certainly can be forgiven for sitting deep if they wish to, having taken that lead through Jamie Vardy as Bellerin plays it back to Mustafi on the halfway line.
Well, it's the same as had the Saturday game, isn't it? You know, it's the perfect setup to frustrate Arsenal, I suppose. I mean, Arsenal haven't played well enough and quick enough to break it down, but they're just sitting in that same position that they've been all game, and the difference is that one moment. And when you've got the finishing ability and the quality of Jamie Vardy to know where to be, plus the other players that played their part in Tielemans as well with the pass, then, you know, you can hurt teams. And Brendan Rodgers, you have to say, if they walk away here with a 1-0 win, set up brilliantly.
Gabriel has it for Arsenal just inside his own half. Well, our producer John will be conducting the post-match interviews, so he will find out whether that was Brendan Rodgers' master plan. I'll let John decide how to word his description of Leicester City's performance before Jamie Vardy came on. But as Matt Upson says, if you keep it tight, if you keep a clean sheet, and you get Jamie Vardy on and he scores the winner, and it's job done for Brendan Rodgers as Nketiah bounces in frustration, giving away a free kick midway inside the Leicester City half.
I think Arteta is so animated off that tackle. Honestly, he has gone storming down the touchline, thrown his arms up at the fourth official and still going, because Tielemans was so cheeky the way he won that foul. He had the ball, he was touching it, but he knew, he kept looking over his shoulder, he knew Nketiah was coming, and he just waited for the smallest bit of contact and went to ground. And Arteta saw it, I think everyone saw it, but the referee saw it too and decided that it was a foul, and really frustrated Mikel Arteta.
Leicester City making their final change, Mark Albrighton replacing James Maddison, and although again he's had to play in a position that he's not so used to doing, playing as that false nine for the first 15 minutes of the second half, what's been a real positive for Leicester City is how fitness-wise he's looked absolutely fine, Matt Upson.
Yeah, and I think it's important for Leicester and him to get minutes on the pitch. He's drifted all over the place. He's been on the left, he's been on the right, he's played down the middle, he's played just off the middle. You know, he really has been all over that front section of the pitch, but to see him walking off, doesn't appear to have any troubles. I think they'll be delighted that he's got those minutes on the pitch.
Leicester City with a throw, deep in Arsenal territory, leading 1-0. Thanks to that goal from substitute Jamie Vardy. Here is the man who provided it. Under, far right, swings it all the way back to the halfway line. It's a lovely ball.
He definitely looks like he's got something different under. You know, I can understand those comments from Brendan Rodgers. He's quite a tricky player and showed he's got a good understanding and a bit of quality with that ball for the goal too.
Leicester win another throw over on that far side. James Justin will just take his time. He's got a bit to prove under. Struggled to get into the Roma side during his 3 years there. Struggled with injuries as well, which didn't help. But he's provided a beautiful assist for Jamie Vardy this evening, and that is why Leicester lead 1-0 as we approach the final 4 minutes plus added time here at the Emirates. Earlier in the Premier League today, Southampton 2, Everton 0, Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Have your say on all those games with 606, which comes up after us with Robbie and Chris. 08085 909 693. Get your calls in now. Leicester City have some defending to do. Arsenal with the ball on the halfway line. Here is Gabriel, sends it to the left, and Nicola Pepe in field to Xhaka. Good shape from Leicester though, and good challenge as well from Castagna. Excellent sliding challenge in reply from Xhaka. Will feed Pepe down the left hand side. Just stumbled over the ball there and felt that he was clipped, Nicola Pepe. Nothing given by referee Craig Pawson. Fofana then loses out. Haven't said that too many times this evening for Leicester City, and Arsenal have the ball again on the halfway line with Mustafi just inside the Leicester half, square to Ceballos. Arsenal try to work it down the left hand side now with Pepe. Again Castagna in an advanced position, just coming out to defend that right hand side for Leicester City, and forces Pepe all the way back to Gabriel. Whips the ball out to the right hand side. It's well met by Leicester, picked up by Mendy, and Fuchs will clear long over the halfway line. It's a good ball from Fuchs, found the vision on that far side as it's flicked towards Jamie Vardy. Gabriel got there first. Vardy will close down Leno, and Arsenal will play out from the back. Caused them a few problems against Rapid Vienna. Arteta says he's not going to change that, and on that occasion that was a good decision by Arsenal. They've dealt with that situation calmly as Gabriel has it outside the D, and Jamie Vardy, Leicester's goal scorer, retreats.
Yeah, Arsenal just been very composed there. I know they've had a bit of a blip, and it's not the first time that's happened with them, and it won't be the last, probably just due to the style that they're willing to play, and they're willing to play those balls. Leno especially, as a goalkeeper for Arsenal and a lot of the clubs now, you have to be so good with your feet and make really good choices of what pass is on, and Leno made a good choice there.
Tackles flying in the centre of the park. Arsenal come away with the ball. Partey lifts it forward looking for Bellerin, hacked clear by Christian Fuchs, and will fall to Tielemans. There's nobody really up there for Leicester City. Jamie Vardy just drifting now into the Arsenal half as Tielemans goes down and wins the free kick. And I think from when Yuri Tielemans picked up that ball, Matt Upson, that was what he wanted to achieve, and he's done so.
You used the phrase wins the free kick as opposed to Arsenal conceding it, and he's done it a couple of times now. Once when Arteta got really frustrated, and that time there he knows exactly when the contact's coming. Does he need to go to ground? No, I don't think the contact knocks him to the floor, but there is contact and he uses it and is now slowed the game down. Leicester have got all the way up the pitch. Kasper Schmeichel's now lining up a big booming right-footed ball straight down the side, and they're going to look to keep the ball in the Arsenal half.
Yeah, Schmeichel does send that powerfully long down towards the Arsenal penalty area, headed away by Arsenal. Tielemans will send it out to the right hand side. All Brighton, lovely little layoff to James Justin. Jamie Vardy just edging towards the left hand side of the box. Justin back to All Brighton, and now Vardy, now Mendy. This is a lovely interchange of passes from Leicester, just won't come to Jamie Vardy, but he is fouled by Thomas Partey, and Leicester City will have a free kick on that wide left hand side, just about level with the penalty spot. That's some of the nicest interchange of passing we've seen from Leicester all game.
It was Vardy, All Brighton involved. Just nice passing, wasn't it? Just transferring it, and Arsenal getting really frustrated. I can see Arteta just pacing up and down his technical area. They can't seem to just get a foothold and get a grip at this game. You'd expect them to now be taking the game to Leicester, wouldn't you, and really driving it, trying to get that equaliser, but it's Leicester just frustrating them with where they've got the ball, the territory they have on the pitch, and the decisions they're making just to see this game out.
They've taken the free kick short, Leicester, as we enter 5 minutes of added time. Arsenal win a throw. 5 minutes for Leicester City to secure their first away win at Arsenal since 1973. Arsenal heading for their first home league defeat of 2020 as the ball goes out of play. Xhaka will prepare to take this throw. It will be 3 defeats in their last 4 Premier League games for Arsenal. Calibre of opponent has been high, Manchester City, Liverpool, and as things stand, Leicester, who they trail by 1-0. Jamie Vardy off the bench to head home in the second half. Mustafi over the halfway line for Arsenal, plays it long looking for Nketiah, and he was barged into there. Well, I thought he was barged into by Fofana, but the decision has gone against Nketiah. Now, did he try and buy that foul, Matt Upson?
Well, no more than what Tielemans has done, to be honest, and the referee seems to be buying Tielemans as going to the ground. It was a very similar incident to that. I know it was in the box, so it's a far bigger incident for the referee to get right, and I don't think that those type of coming togethers are fouls, but he has given them in other areas of the pitch.
Well, it's almost as if they both misread the flight of the ball, and then there is that coming together, but the decision goes Leicester City's way. If it had gone Arsenal's way, it would have been a penalty.
I mean, it would have been a massive call to give that as a penalty, and I don't think it was. I see it as a coming together and both players just colliding.
Fofana under pressure from Nketiah, plays it back to Kasper Schmeichel. No nonsense from the Dane, fires it over the halfway line, and now Jamie Vardy might be found inside the penalty area. Vardy to wrap it up. Good save by Leno, behind for a corner. That was the chance for Vardy to get his second of the game, but it remains 1-0 Leicester City.
Well, Bernd Leno just staying big there, does exactly what he needs to do as Vardy's bearing down. Mustafi gets completely done with the run. Vardy, it's a lovely, beautifully timed run just off the shoulder of Mustafi and slipped ball down the side. He's on the corner of the 6-yard box, but Leno does everything right. He just stays big, he doesn't commit, and Vardy waits for him to go down and tries to lift it over, and it just clips off Leno's shoulder, I think, to go out for the corner.
Which Leicester City have taken short. They're trying to keep it in the corner as well, trying to see out this 1-0 as it still stands. Victory against Arsenal. Tielemans dispossessed. Ceballos will bring it away for Arsenal. We have played almost 3 of the minimum 5 minutes added on here at the Emirates on 5 Live. Arsenal 0, Leicester City 1. Arsenal in possession. Over the halfway line goes Bellerin. Square to Xhaka. They've got to commit bodies forward now, Arsenal. One of them is Pepe. Left hand side. Back to Xhaka. Partey is waiting for it. Xhaka bypasses him, plays it to Mustafi, swings the ball into the penalty area. Easy for Castagna. Headed away, will be picked up by Under. And plays it back to Castagna, who almost got his feet in a tangle there, but manages to squeeze it out to Under on that right hand side. He plays it back to Castagna, who will play it over the halfway line. Picked up by Gabriel. Arsenal trying to get back on level terms late on in injury time here on 5 Live. Out to Mustafi, right hand side, midway through the Leicester City half. Forward to Bellerin, back to Mustafi, who will send it again into the penalty area. It's over the head of Lacazette, will come out to Pepe, left hand side, just outside the box, up against Castagna. Pepe down to the byline, digs the ball across, and Schmeichel had to tip that over. I think it got a nick off Castagna anyway, so he was trying to prevent the corner. Schmeichel doesn't manage to do so, and Arsenal will have a set piece as we enter the final minute of added on time. Arsenal 0, Leicester 1.
It's Pepe's opportunity just to whip this in with his left foot. It's an outswinger. Let's see if the Arsenal players have the desire to want to get their head on the end of it.
Pepe with the delivery. It's a poor one. It's headed away at the near post. Pepe will pick it up again, sends it in left footed, and Schmeichel watches it all the way and crashes to the ground. And there is applause from the Leicester City bench in front of us, because Leicester City are seconds away from winning their first match at Arsenal for 47 years.
I mean, it really has been poor set-piece delivery tonight, hasn't it? I mean, Arsenal have hit the near post man too many times. Pepe there, again, near post defender, comfortable header out and clearing the box. It's just too easy.
Under is then pulled back by Xhaka. That's a Harry Maguire-esque tackle, isn't it? He just cramped his neck, Granit Xhaka, and pulled him back.
It was 2 hands, wasn't it?
It was.
It wasn't even 1 hand on his neck or shoulder. It was both. He ran past him, 2 hands straight on the back of his shoulders and tugged him back.
Bizarre challenge. Unsurprisingly, Xhaka goes into the book. I think that's one of those where you just think, I don't care how I stop him. I'm just going to stop him. He did stop him, but he couldn't stop Leicester City as the final whistle goes, and Jamie Vardy's header in the second half gives Leicester City their first win at Arsenal since 1973. Arsenal 0, Leicester 1. Matt Upton.
Well, you have to say that potentially that could be a tactical masterclass from Brendan Rodgers. You really can. I mean, we can criticise Leicester first half and at times how toothless they were and how deep they were, and Arsenal really looked in control, but whether that was a plan just to lure Arsenal out, and he's got that weapon on the bench of Jamie Vardy, and it paid off. I mean, if that was the plan, it was executed perfectly, and really Leicester could have won 2-0. You know, the opportunity then with Vardy, another one-on-one. The way they did it and the way Brendan Rodgers introduced Vardy to the game at that moment, the timing was absolutely perfect.
And he is beaming, Brendan Rodgers, as he congratulates his players. His first away win as a manager at Arsenal as well on his 8th attempt. It finishes at the Emirates, Arsenal 0, Leicester City 1.